So basically, there's multiple functions of an isolation transformer, but what it essentially means is that the primary and secondary have a galvanic isolation between the two. So in other words, it's not a straight electrical connection. It's actually a coupled connection magnetically. So there's some inherent things to that from a safety standpoint. It is an isolation transformer is a current limiting device. And I believe, Medina, when you get into some of the things on the rectifiers and the battery storage systems, that'll come up a little bit more. But sometimes, even if it's a 480 to 480, if it's providing that isolation, it does protect the system. So that's important. It also gives you the opportunity, as you're seeing here, like on the Delta Y, to have a separately derived neutral. So it isolates the two systems there. So the term isolation transformer is confused a lot of times on really what that means. An auto transformer is just basically a straight through windings, and based on where it's tapped off of, you'll have a voltage change, but there's no isolation there. So the current limiting function and the protection there is not really there. We historically had seen, let's say 10 years ago or so, quite a few people that would use auto transformers regularly just to tweak the voltage on the output of some sort of inverter, which essentially functions, but you don't get the safety that you do with an isolation transformer. So we don't see that a whole lot these days.
And the most common setup we'll see is the delta facing the utility side with the Y side on the inverter side. In battery storage, it just flip-flop around a little bit there, where often the BESS wants to be an ungrounded system. So typically it's a delta facing the BESS side. And then with an absence of the grid only being powered by the BESS, it's good then to have that Y neutral there on that grid facing side to provide those single phase loads. Functionally for the transformer, usually in your PV applications, you only really need that delta there on that grid facing side. Touching back on what Jeff was saying there, that with it being an isolation transformer, it creates a new separately derived neutral on that inverter facing side for that balanced reference there that the inverters like to see, or typically the PV inverters like to see. We certainly can do YY, if you have a utility that really wants to see Ys on both. That definitely is a possibility though. We do see sometimes that can cause some issues though with the neutral on the utility side there. If it is bonded as well, it often can act as a return path for neutral flux. So sometimes that has caused some heating problems in the neutral as well. So functionally, we prefer to go with the delta there on the grid side.